The vast majority of the time on Drag Race, queens will start the way they finish. That means the quality of drag showcased by queens at the start and end of their run is typically the same. Today though, I'm going to be talking about queens who had massive mid-season glow-ups. The first queen I will be talking about from season 16 is Plain Jane. I do not think it would be controversial to say that for the first few episodes of season 16, Plain was not doing well. In the actual competitive portion of the season, she was killing it. She had a great talent show in terms of making Ru laugh and got a win. She did great in RDR Live and girl groups and did fine in the ball. The issue though comes with her feud with Amanda Tori Meeting. It is no secret that Amanda was not the most polished queen this season, and based off the edit, Plain Jane was very unhappy about this fact. For the first few episodes, the only major plot points that Plain had were A, rigging the Rey to Queen twist against Nymphia, who is the fan favorite of the season, and having many blow-up fights with Amanda Tori Meeting, who was one of the fan favorites of the season and a massive underdog. This resulted in Plain receiving a lot of hate for the first few episodes. The literal second Amanda was gone, Plain received one of the biggest edit 180s I have ever seen. She went from being a catty, annoying villain who was trying way too hard to an actual person with an actual backstory that people sympathized with. This may be controversial, but I don't think it was random chance that we started to learn more about Plain as soon as Amanda was gone. The Plain versus Amanda feud was one of the driving forces of the first few episodes of the season, and it was very clear that production liked Plain, so pushing Plain as an actual person and an actual competitive force is really the only option. From what I have seen, Amanda is really the only person Plain disliked, so as soon as Amanda was gone, Drag Race production immediately course-corrected and made Plain an actual person who has become a huge fan favorite. I don't know who else follows the Reddit polls about Drag Race, but it is very clear when Plain starts to become a fan favorite, and I hope it continues. It is always fun when a villain is both villainous and well-received. Next, on UK Season 2, we have one of the biggest glow-ups I have ever seen, including All-Stars. For the first 4 episodes of UK Season 2, Bimini was struggling. Episode 1 was the runway challenge where she had some bad looks, to say the least, but she had a great lip sync and a great personality. While she would not place in the bottom again, the struggle bus would continue. In her surprise reveal runway, the reveal didn't work or it didn't land. I still don't know what she was going for, but the polish was just not there. This would continue for the episode 3 design challenge. Bimini was on the winning team and was in the top, but it was pretty much by default, and her look was not the best thing ever. A lot of people liked Bimini, but she was not a huge fan favorite and she was not a competitive force. Due to COVID, production for the season shuts down and everyone is sent home. Everyone comes back generally the same, except Bimini. I do not know what changed in those few months that they were gone, but Bimini had one of the greatest glow-ups we have ever seen. There are 5 episodes left in the season, and I'm gonna go one by one. The first episode back, which was girl groups, Bimini gets her first win. She also writes one of the greatest individual verses we have ever seen, and has her strongest runway of the season so far. Then, in episode 6, which is Snatch Game, she has a great performance, 3rd best UK Snatch Game ever, and a great runway. This look, in my opinion, is one of the best looks of the season. It is one of the best looks of the franchise, and it is the most unique idea Bimini has had. I don't know if she had this look beforehand, but this is not something I would have expected out of pre-break Bimini. She does an okay job in the design challenge, and goes on to win the final 2 challenges of the season, which are comedy and acting. Bimini has gone from a confessional queen that no one really viewed as a threat, to the #1 frontrunner of the season. On the screen now is Bimini's track record. She had a huge glow up up towards the end. Of the 5 challenges post-glow up, she won 4 of them. It was an incredibly dominant performance. While in the end, Bimini did not end up winning the season, a lot of people said she should have, while I am fully Team Tace, going from a complete afterthought to the frontrunner to win going into the finale. It is iconic, it is impressive, and it is quintessential glow-up. The next major mid-season glow-up is on Season 10 with Monae Exchange. For the first 5 episodes of the season, Monae is very much struggling. In the design challenge, her sponge runway and her explanation for the sponge runway are stupid in a good way. Then she's fine in the app challenge and the Rusical. She has a bad performance in the ball, but is able to show off a lot in terms of lip sync quality and lip sync skill. She shows this yet again when she lip syncs against Mayhem Miller. In these first 5 episodes, Monae presents herself as a great performer, moderately okay seamstress, and a good confessional queen. Is that enough to win the season? No. What could be enough to win the season, though, is her run in episodes 6, 7, 8, and 9. I don't know what happened because the challenge quality is all roughly the same, but Monae has an incredible glow-up across these episodes. She starts off with a good performance in the DragCon Panels Challenge and gets her first top placement of the week that is not part of a team. First is the Snatch Game, where she does Maya Angelou. Monae is able to channel her charisma very well. Monae has played the Snatch Game 4 times in her Drag Race career, and this is easily the peak. It is very funny, but she is also able to go at this character from a lot of different angles, and that is something that I really appreciate. Then in the Rusical, Monae gives the best performance by far, but she does not win because of her weaker runway. This is the main thing holding her back. Monae's final great performance is in the Breast World Acting Challenge. She is the best of the week and is yet again held down by her runway. If Monae went into the season with better runways, she wins at least the Rusical and the Acting Challenge, maybe even more. She is able to fight her way to the end, and while I don't think she would win, if Monae got those 2 challenge wins, I have no doubt she'd make it to the finals. While in the end, Monae only placed 6th, going from having 2 bottoms to 4 high placements in a row is nothing to scoff at, and I believe it counts as a glow-up. Next up, from All-Star 6, we have the Reverend Dr. Silky Nutmeg Ganache. The first 3 episodes for Silky in All-Star 6 are kinda sad, but very important. Her first performance in the talent show places her low. She is singing live. I don't know why she is low. I think production just didn't want anyone else in that slot. Then in the ball, Silky does fine and she's kind of pushed to the side. Then episode 3 rolls around and we get the main storyline episode for Silky. In this episode, Silky talks about her experiences with the fans after being on the show. She talks about how badly her personality was received. And she talks about how she kind of feels the need to limit herself in an attempt to redeem herself in the fanbase's eyes. This is very sad, as no one should have to change their personality for the fans. Nonetheless, Silky kind of tones herself down, and it sends her out of the competition. This would be a very sad end to Silky's run if it was the end of it. Following her reputation in terms of lip-syncing on Season 11, the bar is incredibly low for Silky. Silky's first lip-sync is in round 2 against Jiggly, who is a generally strong lip-syncer. I thought Silky was done here. Then Silky pulled out an entire wet bar from her bra and beat Jiggly. At that point, I had a rough idea of what was to come, but I don't think anyone could predict what would happen for the rest of this episode. Silky's second lip sync is against Yara. She pulls out a water bottle, pours it on herself, slays Yara, gets her third lip sync win. It is a great moment. Silky then goes on to beat Scarlet, but the major storyline point comes in her lip sync that should have been against Akira. Due to Akira's storyline on the show, she decides to not participate, leaving Silky to lip sync to Barbie Girl alone. This is the greatest possible thing that could happen for Silky. All the focus is on her, and she gives a great lip sync. The main thing though, and I don't remember who originally said this is where the edit really turns around for Silky. She goes from just a regular queen lip-syncing her way back to the star of this episode. All eyes are on Silky, and the episode is no longer about who's gonna fight their way back. The lip-sync is about who is Silky going to beat. Silky then goes on to beat Jan and Pandora in lip syncs, both great performances, but ultimately loses to Eureka. This is the best thing that could possibly have happened for Silky. She not only goes out on a massive high note, but she has left the audience wanting more, resulting in a future run on Canada vs. the World. If this is not a glow up, I don't know what is. The final queen who received a mid-season glow up on All Stars 3 is Trixie Mattel. For the first 4 episodes, Trixie isn't doing bad per se, but she's not doing well, and especially she is not living up to her pre-show reputation. With the success of her web series, Trixie was probably the biggest name going into this season, and she was, from what I've been able to gather, in a lot of people's minds, the frontrunner. She has good performances in the talent show and the Rusical, and a great performance in the Bachelor Improv Challenge. Then Snatch Game rolls around and things do not go well for Trixie. Trixie tries and fails to mimic the incredibly successful RuPaul impression from her show. We all told her this was funny, I blame us. Trixie places in the bottom but is saved, so for the first half of the season she has 2 safe placements, a high and a bottom. This is overall not a bad performance, but compared to Trixie's reputation, it is not good. We arrive at the final stretch of the season, and Trixie absolutely knocks this out of the park. First is the ball challenge. She has a very well designed look, it is branded incredibly well to her, and the fit of it is absolutely spot on. Just an all-around great performance and her first win ever. Then she has girl groups. She is the second best of her group. Great performance overall, very good look, very good verse, and I think she should have won. This would have been her second challenge win ever and her second of the season. Then we have the terrible Final 5 acting challenge. Really bad choice, but Trixie does a great job both in the challenge and on the runway. She is knocking it out of the park consistently. I don't know where this Trixie was for the first half of the season. I don't think her win would be controversial at all if this was the level of quality she was giving for the first half. Then we have the finale, where Trixie has one of the strongest finale performances we have ever seen. In the remix, she knocks it out of the park, best verse by a mile, and she also hits the choreo very well. This is a good sign for Trixie, as she is up there competing choreography-wise against Kennedy and Shangela. The jury twist is announced, and Trixie is in a great position. She has not had to eliminate anyone, and she is universally liked among this cast. A lot of people will claim this jury was bitter, and while that is partially fair, I can't deny that Trixie did a great job making her case to the jury. She is voted into the final 2 along with Kennedy, has a good final lip sync, and wins the season. A lot of people discount Trixie's run on this season because of the way it ended, and while I believe that is fair, it is worth saying the final 4 episodes were all win-worthy. If the final half of this season was all competitive episodes that were judged fairly, Trixie would have had 4 wins. Hey, it's Drag Race Rejudged. Do you want gay shit? Well then check out the RuPaul's Drag Race Rejudged YouTube channel and hit subscribe.